few people are going to just let you grab their arms and start doing something. Most people in this position are going to be very defensive. And so one move that I like a lot better for gi than no gi is called the Ezekiel. And it's very tough to get, I think it's fairly tough to get from a no gi. And there are a lot of different ways of doing it. But let's go over it, because even if you don't get it, I don't really care. It's going to put you in the position that you can get the arm mark, and that I care about. So the first thing I want you to do is take your arm and go under the head, all right? And I really want you to see how my arm is kind of flush on the mat. I really want you to get this. Now with the Ezekiel, you'll actually be grabbing your gi to do this. But here, we can go here, we can grab the arm here. But the big thing is, we want to take the hand and put it in front of the throat or on the side of the throat, all right? When I put the hand on the side of the throat on either side, I'm crunching off the carotid arteries, and that's what someone's going to tap from. So here, I come in, take my hand, flat. I like going in front of the throat, and then really pushing down on the throat. With my other hand, I like pulling on my forearm, and I like just pushing. It's probably uncomfortable, but it's not choking, right? Yeah. So you can try to reach your hand all the way to the back of the shoulder. Maybe you get the tap that way, or put in enough. But again, I'm not doing this to do any real damage. I'm probably not going to choke them out, but I can start that pressure. In gi, this is one of my favorite chokes because it's so quick. The no gi, it works occasionally, so I don't like to push the action. So again, bring my arm down, the back of the head. All right. I want this hand flat in front of the neck. At the same time, I'm grabbing my forearm. I'm putting pressure. I pull up, kind of curl up on the back of the head, and I start to put pressure. Partner, don't wait until you're choking to tap. Choke once you kind of feel the pressure coming. Okay, so tap once you feel a little pressure. Okay. My goal of this is not to get someone to tap from the Ezekiel for what we're covering today. I don't have the nuances down at that level that's going to work great for no-gi. I don't really like it for no-gi. I don't see it a lot for no-gi. So our goal is to get them to do something. All right. So as I start coming in here and I start playing around with the neck, Matt's probably going to start defending. He's going to bring his arms up, and that's my cue. So I want to come up and bring my knee to at least the shoulder blade, ideally behind the head. So, because he's not going to just sit there and let me push on his throat. He is going to bring his arms up in some fashion. And so I'm here, start to play around. I can grab the back of the arm, push up. I bring my knee to the back of the head. My other foot, I bring to the shoulder, or I can leave it back here for the time being, but ultimately I slide it up to the shoulder. Okay. Now, this is the arm I'm typically going to go for. How do I get this? Well, the first thing I want to do is push down on the face and next to the neck, okay? The second thing that I want to do is bring my leg over. It's all in one motion. And so you come over and grab the arm, all right? You want to have your foot on the other side of the head before your butt touches the mat. When you do come down to the mat, you want your hips, to the extent possible, underneath the shoulder, okay? So I want to be tight. Don't cross the legs for today's exercises. Keep your legs tight. One heel at the back of the neck, one in the armpit next to the body, okay? Then want to pinch my knees together to hold the arm in position, all right? We're gonna stop there because we're gonna go over a few things. The next set is how we're defending and getting out of this arm bar, and how are we actually executing on this arm bar. Because you've seen this move, at least to an extent before, I know this part is a little bit of review. So again, I'm using the Ezekiel, getting Matt to respond, get the arm. I'm here. My knee is up by the head, my foot is up by the shoulder, okay? I grab the arm, push up, tilt, But I tilt towards the back, and I have the arm before I'm sitting down at the mat, on the mat. Okay, that's a key part of this. If I sit down and don't really have the arm well, it's going to escape. It's going to be really easy. So I need this arm, and I need my leg over before I sit on this battle of securing the arm with breaking the grip so that you can have the arm bar. So our first time, just let me have the arm bar. Don't tug on it. The second time we'll focus on what the thing is. So again, for our starting move, we're here, defense. I push this up. Okay. When I have this, I'm pushing the arm, just a slight detail. I'm pushing the arm across the body. Don't keep it on the same side. It's going to make it tough for the arm bar. So I'm pushing this across the body. I'm coming up. I have this leg. Again, I like to secure the head because now it's really tough for my opponent to move anywhere. And that's why I do this. I come back. And I tighten down. I'm also under the shoulder. Okay. For the arm bar, I grab the wrist, both hands. Thumb should be pointing the opposite direction that I'm going with the arm. I can grab the arm tightly, like this, and with one wrist, or I can grab with both wrists. It's really your preference. And I come back, and I lift my hips up with the arm. Okay, that's the arm bar. We're going to focus on that next. You should see where it's going. But what we're going to start with is Matt stops me. So he grabs this. There are hundreds of ways to get past this. The big thing is I want to separate these arms. And so the way I like to do it personally is I like to keep this leg in front here. Because when you secure the head, you stop them from really moving anywhere. And that's so important. So then I want to take my leg that's towards the hips. And what I like to do is take the bottom of my foot. I like to push on the arm. I like to dig the heel into the muscle. At the same time, I grab figure four my hands, or my arm, and I grab the wrist, and I pull the wrist. One thing I can do, depending on my opponent's grip, I can either take the arm this way to my right, or this way to my left as I bring it. Okay, it depends on his grip. But as I have here, I start here, my opponent has a very solid grip. I want to focus on taking the bottom of my foot, really digging the heel into the biceps, either pulling straight back, or if they have a good grip, play around, either going to your right or to your left, and then come back down, okay? Opponent, first couple times, let them have that. You don't need to put in the arm bar all the way. We're going to do that next. But, if you're a good partner, go ahead and give them, the first couple times, don't give them much resistance so they can feel it out. But then start giving real resistance and really try to do it. This is hard. In real life, this is hard. If someone has a good grip, especially if they're fresh, it's really tough to get this. So partner, don't give 100% resistance, but give a good 50 or 60 and really try to feel this out. Which way, how do you have to take the arm? Can you get it? Maybe, maybe not, but keep on working on it as you're going through. Don't forget, dig the foot into the arm that takes away a lot of their power as you're trying to separate the hands, okay? To do nothing other than to get your partner to move their arm so you can secure the arm and put in the arm bar. Now you've played around with this a little bit and you've been able to defend the arm bar. How many of you, when someone put in a lot of pressure, how many of you found it extremely easy to break their hands apart and get the arm bar? Anybody? No. It's hard, right? It's really hard, but you will get that. No, actually, can I grab your arm first? All right. So, the key thing, just a couple things that I noticed. When you do break that grip, and you do go for the arm bar, again, the thumb needs to be pointed up, all right? You want to either secure both hands on the wrist to keep it from turning. One of Matt's defenses is to just turn his wrist. That's literally the defense, is to just turn his, now I'll take it the other way, but that's his first defense, just like that. But if you want to be really good at this and execute, make sure you take your heel, bring it up against the neck, make sure your hips are close and under the shoulder here, and your other leg under the armpit, squeezing the knees together, okay? This is gonna buy you some time as you're trying to execute on the armbar. Then once you get this, you have this, and you can put your hips up as high as possible. The other detail, if you grab the arm like this, keep it close to the chest with the thumb pointed up, and that's going to even give your opponent less space. Okay. Now, what happens, I'll go through it for a second, then I'll show you. So what happens when I need to escape, all right? So the common thing that people want to do is they want to turn into the legs, okay? That's almost impossible. So even, let me move a little. Even if I do this, what's he gonna do? He's gonna just follow me. He's gonna go for a choke. It's gonna be tough. Okay, sorry. What I meant to say is turn the legs like this. So how do I get out of this? I can't turn it into that. So I'm walking back on my words a little because I said it wrong, so edit that, please. But when he's putting the armbar in, what I want to do is the same thing that we did for our Superman punch. We're getting, or not Superman punch, but Superman escape of the Americana. I want to raise my arm up. I want to get up on my side. I want to come around to the back. All right. So. Again, the common thing that people do, they have this grip, I can't do much there. It's very hard. Try to come in, I can't do it. So I want to, this is risky, but it works. I want to get my hand pointed up. I want to move to my side. I want to come to my knees. So I'm just turning on one side, coming to my knees. Then I move around to the back. Yeah. The key is, without that, the key is I have my arm here, all right? I'm turning the opposite direction of what you would most likely want to turn into the person to secure your arm, but you turn the opposite way, so I have my arm here. I come up onto the side, all right? I go to my knees, and then I come around the back. Okay. Again, there are tons of different ways and different variations on escaping this. You can bring your arm up, the ways you do it, paying more or less attention to where the thumb's pointing, all these things. As you go through this, figure out what works for you. That what I showed works well for me. It's not going to work well for everybody. So make sure you adapt it to your style as you do that, or as you're developing your own style. But the moral of the story is, you bring your arm up, you're turning the direction opposite what is probably natural, you're coming around the back, all right? I want to show you, just because we haven't gone over many escapes, I want to show you one other escape from the traditional armbar. It's going to be the simplest, easiest escape. It's not the only one, but Matt's going to put me in traditional armbar. That's what we started with. So normally what Matt's doing is he's bringing his hips in. Go ahead and start. And so normally he's doing this. He's trying to go for the armbar. So how do I stop that? Well, one thing is I can do the same thing you just saw. Actually, I'm going to show you a couple things. You can do the same thing where you grab your hands, and I want to kind of move my arm out. So what I'm basically doing, we saw this general movement. I'm kind of centimeter by centimeter pulling my arm out until the elbow is past the hips. Okay, so I grip here, and I do like this. The other thing is, and the first thing, I want to do what's called stack. And so what I'm doing is I'm pushing my weight on Matt. Personally, I like to actually go under my opponent and grab their head. So I really put a lot of weight, and then I bring my arm out. Okay? So he has the arm bar. Nice, he's getting it. I want to first to the extent possible, grab my hands. It's not always possible, but if I can, I want to grab my hands. Come up, stack. If you can, take your arm either side. I like coming this way because I feel like I can get more pressure. Bring my legs up, so I'm putting all my weight on the legs, and then push my chest forward to pull the arm out. Okay. One more time real quick. Here, grab this. I come up. I want to put as much weight as possible, and I like to grab the back of their head to pull them towards it because it hurts. And so I put that weight there, pull my arm out, centimeter by centimeter. Any questions on that? That's the most basic, straightforward one. There's a lot of nuances, a lot of variation for things you can add for it to work even better, but as a first pass, it's pretty straightforward.